Hello, everyone. And what I really want to talk about right now is the Avatar The Last Airbender movie, or ATLA for short. Now, this movie was, on its own, alright. It was a little exposition-y, and it seemed almost unreal. It seemed like it was forced, everything about it. Now, if we wanted it to be better, or as I should say, closer to the cartoon, here are 3 things I think that could have been changed. Number 1, the characters. With some of the characters, it was about their personality. Their personality did not come close to the original's personality, or their look. Now, the examples I'm going to give are Sokka with his personality and Zuko with his look. Now, Sokka, he seemed like he was too much of a serious character, and he seemed too much of a character that was just going to be the warrior of the group. Much like Toph was going to be in her original idea before she was a girl or blind. She was going to be a meathead earthbender. Now, with Sokka, I feel like it captured one side of his personality, but only a tiny amount of it. It's like if you were to say you were going to bake a pie, but then only brought a slice of it to the event you were taking said pie to. Now, I feel like if he had been more funny, more relaxed, and more eccentric, like his original character, more like his original character, I feel like that will have been an okay representation of Sokka. It wouldn't have been perfect in any way, but it would have been alright. Now Zuko, they made him a bit more angry and angsty than in the cartoon, but his personality was alright. Here's my problem with his character. His character is supposed to be the banished prince. As he says, I used to think this scar marked me, the mark of the banished prince. Now that scar was barely there. That marked him. That scar marked him as the banished prince, or in his mind, that's what that scar meant. And that was never taken into consideration by the movie. He was a hot-headed, spoiled prince, which in the first book of the cartoon, yes, he was. But he had a reason to be. In the movie, I feel like they glossed over it, and that part is not alright. Glossing over that huge piece of his personality and why he is who he is breaks his character. It ruins it. It is not even close to the correct depiction. Now, I say correct very lightly. What I mean by correct is that it is not as close to the original as many people wished it had been. Now, he looked all right. If he had the ponytail, it would have been better. But the thing that ruins his character is the fact that you can barely see the scar. When I first watched the movie, I could not see the scar. I had to look incredibly closely to even notice it. And I feel like if they changed those 2 things about the characters, it would have been alright. Now for the 3rd one, Aang. I know I said I would give 2, but Aang was a complete disaster. A dumpster fire, I would say. If they had given Aang his happy-go-lucky personality, they did alright with that. They made him happy, they made him fun. But what they forgot is the trauma and guilt he feels. When he was talking to Katara in the movie about how he ran away, he smiled. That is part of his personality, part of who he is that he cannot change. He regrets leaving. And they completely glossed over it. They gloss over most of Aang's backstory, which is frustrating when they cropped out the Avatar they cropped out the Avatar part of the title of the movie. They just called it The Last Airbender, which makes it all the more frustrating. Now, The second thing I'd like to talk about, the second reason I feel like, no, the second way I feel like they could have made it better is the exposition. In the beginning of the show, yes, Katara gives a little excerpt about the show. And that is helpful. It tells you what you need to know. It tells you the basics of this world. But that is built on in the show perfectly. It gives world building to extend on. In the movie, they use that for all of the exposition. Those are the only slow moments. The rest of the movie is trying to be high-paced and fast and interesting. But it's not. That's not how it works. Now, I am not a professional in this kind of thing. I am simply talking about how I think they could have done things better. But the biggest point of that movie that I think really ruined it for most Atla fans was the bending. The bending was atrocious. Everyone has seen the scene where it takes 5 men doing crazy movements to move one rock the size of one of their heads. Or how the firebenders need to flail their arms about just to move fire that's already lit. Now, as you might not know, or as some Atla fans do know, all the bending in the cartoon is based on actual, real-life martial arts. Like how airbending is based on Bagua, for example. If they had used the actual martial arts to create the bending scenes, I feel like it would have made the movie 10 times better. Now, I'm not saying it would be perfect by any means. They gloss over a lot. But if they had done that, it might have actually been an alright movie, besides the characters, which is a huge part of it. But I'm just saying, these are my opinions. These are how I think it could have been made better. Leave your other ideas in the comments and tell me if you think if there was another way that I missed that they could have made the movie closer to the original.